Welcome to the Female Stoic podcast. My name is Stephanie Poppins, and I am an advocate for literary empowerment. That means I believe the examples set by the literary masters can broaden our life perspective, create increased self-awareness, and empower us to overcome the obstacles we encounter here in the 21st century. By listening and referring what we hear to Stoic philosophy, we can foster a strong sense of self and navigate the world more effectively. This podcast takes the form of both discussions and meditations. And if you like what you hear, you might consider looking me up on my socials, where I post empowering videos every day. Or you may like my classic audiobooks and original stories available on my website, newworldbooks.co.uk. Happy listening. Today's episode is about motivation. I wanted to talk about how we get on and continue doing what we're doing even when we are not feeling very well. Perhaps we're overtired. Perhaps we had a hard day the day before. I received an anonymous question in my DMs that said, I'm tired every day. I try to motivate myself, I try to get up and do things, but I just don't have the fight in me anymore. Lots of things have happened recently, and one by one they've just built up, and now I'm struggling to cope. How do I find the motivation to get going? We're going to look at some examples from the literary masters, and we're going to consider the Stoic principles. We have a dichotomy of control within the Stoic philosophy, and we have a circle around us that we protect, our inner citadel, and this contains everything we can control. Essentially, the responses we have to external forces, things that are outside of our control. We make decisions based on the 4 principles of Stoicism: courage, wisdom, temperance, and justice. And we do this in order to maintain a virtuous life. Now, when we look at the principle of temperance, we can see that this is calling us to practice moderation in most things. And, of course, this involves emotional response. So when we are faced with a situation where we've woken up and we are tired still, we are lacking any kind of motivation to begin our day, we then need some kind of framework in place in order to support us so that we can actually achieve what we need to achieve in that moment. So today's episode's all about empowerment and what we do whether we feel good or we don't feel good. As Stoics, we understand we do not rise only when we feel good, but we rise because we have decided that is what we will do at the same time every day. We create a structure for ourselves. We get up and we move regardless of our emotion. We do not wait for desire, we act without it. Even if we don't feel like it, we do it anyway. We choose to replace emotion with the science of daily command. We are reprogramming our minds, creating momentum, and our subconscious is watching everything we do. So it is learning from our actions. Our actions, therefore, are not based on emotion. Emotions being like the wind, where they change direction by the hour. They are not stable, and we recognize and understand this. Emotions are, of course, responses to external factors. Now, if we choose to rise, and we are not dependent upon the wind, but our virtue, our identity, the structure we have put in place, we can maintain a level of stability. It's not energy we are lacking a center, a focus, a structure, a point of force around which our thoughts can orbit. So, as Stoics, we understand we need some kind of an aim, some kind of a command we can give to ourselves to hold on to even when the going gets tough. This aim's not something we hope for, it's something we declare as fact, and therefore something we obey. Something we repeat until our subconscious bends to it without protest. So today we say to ourselves, I do not wait for motivation, I obey my aim. I act because I have decided to act. Marcus Aurelius produced a book of meditations, which was like a journal at the time for him. As he had his thoughts, as he came up with his conclusions, he would write them down. If we write down our aims, we've produced an anchor, something we can go back to, something we can look at, something we can refer to. And that aim will give us reason to carry out our structured, disciplined routine. And that's what we need, a routine, something to hold on to, some stability through the chaos. So this written aim is going to cut through all the indecision. It's going to command the subconscious mind. And if we read this purpose aloud every day, we have something to anchor onto. Until we have written it, until we've read it aloud, until we've felt our chest rise as we speak it, it's still only a whisper. Now it is time for us to say it aloud. I obey my aim. I do not wait to feel. I decide and I act. Even if that aim is small, even if that aim is bite-size, it's still an aim. Our aims might look like this: the completion of a course we've been working on for some time, reorganizing and decorating an area of the house, setting up a new small business, writing our first book, learning a new skill, or becoming educated in a new area. Aims can take a myriad of different forms, and it is essential we pinpoint exactly what we want to achieve and write that aim down. In the case of my anonymous question, looking further into the information I was given, the lack of drive to get up, to start a routine, the lack of having anything to anchor onto, was a direct result of having no aim, no given purpose. The Stoic virtue of temperance teaches us to act with discipline, to create repetition, and work towards honouring our routine and structure every day. In the novel Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte writes, Laws and principles are not for the times when there is no temptation. They are for such moments as this, when body and soul rise in mutiny against their vigour. If at my convenience I might break them, what would be their worth? What she's saying here is, the true test of laws and principles lies in moments of intense temptation, not in times of ease. If we can easily disregard these rules when it suits them, the rules lose their value and meaning. So, the importance is placed upon steadfastness and integrity when faced with strong urges. For example, the urge to just stay in bed. This is the true challenge, the true test. So when your physical desires and your emotional urges conflict with the rules that you have set yourself, it is then that the true worth of these virtues is revealed. So we're going to finish this episode today with some affirmations. This is part of the empowerment process, and it's important that we take time to breathe and focus when we say these words. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let it out on a long sigh. That's it. Now repeat after me. I do not wait for motivation. I obey my definite chief aim. I act because I decide. What is not written cannot rule me. I will write down my purpose. I will write down my goal. I will speak it aloud with emotion and repeat it daily, morning and night. When I look at my goal, when I read my aim, I say aloud, I obey my aim. I do not wait to feel, I decide and I act. I do not wait for mood. This is how I rise, not by feeling, but by a system of repeated law. I will write my aim, and my life will gain direction. I will place my aim where my eyes see it, and I will read it aloud upon rising and before retiring in the evening. I know what I want, and I know why I want it. I do not wait for applause, and I do not explain my aim to others. Charlotte Bronte did not stop writing when she saw her siblings fall one by one, when she was sent away to a school which was racked with disease. She used her hardships as her fuel. Charles Dickens did not quit when he was facing financial hardship, when his father was imprisoned for debt and he was forced to work in a boot-blacking factory at the tender age of 12. These experiences shaped his social conscience and fueled his powerful narratives about poverty and injustice. Remember, purpose replaces emotion, obedience builds power, and repetition replaces doubt. Within our circle of control, we have the power to dictate what we focus on and how loud we allow its voice to be. We have been told to wait for motivation, to wait for the fire to strike before we begin. But as Stoics, we understand motivation disappears the moment things get difficult. We do not need motivation, we need a written aim, and we need a routine, founded on our Stoic principle of temperance, discipline, I hope these words resonated with you today, and I hope you now take the time to write your aim and begin your new phase where you adhere to your routine and practice discipline moving forwards. See you next time.